Jamie, looking forward to your first Edinburgh now, is it?
Yeah, well, I was on the bench for the first game, but that was my first game involved with Hibs, so didn't expect too much from that game. But for me now, it's just a good build-up, and obviously we're full of confidence as a squad, and yeah, we just can't wait to play at home.
How close were you to becoming a Hearts player rather than a Hibernian player?
How close? Look, it's one of those things. I was close to signing somewhere else in Europe as well. You know, it's just one of those things that Hibs came with the offer, and one that felt right, and took the option, and so far it's actually really paid off, and I'm very happy to be here, because obviously it's worked out that my goal was to get back in the national team as well, and that's happened today, and I'm on a good path now, and obviously with the gaffer giving me some belief, and some great boys behind me in the team, so I'm in a good place at the moment.
Let's talk about your call-up first of all. Was that a surprise to you?
Not really. I think on a whole scheme of things, in the national team you've got to be playing games and playing regularly, and I knew that I was in the national team most camps, because when I was playing in Australia I played regularly, and scoring goals is important as a striker, but you've got to also I feel like I've involved football wise in terms of playing up front with flow, and coming to feed and working on different sides of my weaknesses, and I feel like Hibs have been giving me that opportunity.
Your story is quite remarkable, because you were in England, I believe, and then back to Australia, and then ending up in Germany, and then back here in Scotland. Yeah. How did that all come about? Yeah,
look, bit of a journeyman, I guess, but got a British passport, so when I was young, came to England, spent 4 years at Blackburn Rovers, and really matured there as a young kid, and wanted to play first team football, and found myself back in Australia, still away from family at Perth Glory, and played 2 seasons, and then had 2 of my best 2 seasons at Brisbane Roar, and finished my contract with the Golden Boot, and things just kind of happened into place. I had the Confeds Cup with the Socceroos last season, and I was a free agent, and the German contract was the best one that I received, and looking back, things in football, you've got to, if they're not going well for you, then you've got to sort of get yourself out of that hole, and coming to Hibs, it's a breath of fresh air, and I have to say I'm very happy to be here. Yeah.
It's a loan spell
at
the moment, and is it planned to go back to Germany then?
Well, look, they own me, mate, so it's I've still got a couple of years left on my contract, and we'll have to see what happens in the off-season, what their plans are, because obviously the new manager that came in, Dirk Schuster, he kind of said to me in December that he didn't want me to leave on loan, but mentally it was too far gone, so I think we'll probably have to sit down at the end of the season, but that's not even my focus at the moment. I'm focusing on trying to play regularly here, be successful at this club, and when that happens, I'll be in the Socceroos.
Do you have Russia in your mind then this summer? Is that your goal now?
Yeah, in terms of individually, absolutely. I think that was a factor in coming to Hibs, such a big club, and obviously in Scotland, I knew that I had to come here and play regularly, and show the boys that I'm a player that can bring something to this squad. And for me, I know that if I'm playing regularly, I'll always be considered, because there's not too many strikers in the national team, and not too many strikers of my sort of physique, that I'm different to many, the so-called typical centre forward, and I like to think that I bring something different to the national team.
What's the chat been amongst the players this week? It's training ahead of the derby, specifically relating to the Hearts game.
Yeah, look, it's hard to say, but honestly, it's actually just business as usual. It's just another game. We know that the city kind of stops for this sort of fixture, but we're in a good spot at the moment. We know where we are, and obviously they're behind us, and they're trying to chase us. But if we focus on ourselves, mate, I think obviously at home we know that if we can get some good run of form, especially when you go a goal up, the crowd get behind us, and you really push on. But I'm really looking forward to being a part of this Edinburgh derby, and I'm sure it'll be a good one.
I know that there's pressure on you to win all your home games because you're a big club in Scotland, but if you look at the wider context, do you think there's more pressure on Hearts to get a result in this game? They're 9 points behind you in the league. If you win, it'll go 12 points. You get a game in hand over them as well. Do you think there's more pressure on them going into this game?
There probably is. Obviously they're probably pressure. They're probably feeling it. I'm not too sure what their camp's saying, but like I said, we can only control what we have here. And to be honest, we want to chase Aberdeen and Rangers. We don't want to really fall back on the other teams behind us. So if we can continue to get those 3 points, especially at home, we've got a few games coming up at home, and it's important we get those 3 points. And Friday will be no different.
There have been quite a few well-known Australian players that have had real success in Scotland. Maybe when you were a bit younger, you watched them.
Yeah.
Vidmar and Moore and stuff like that. Is the Scottish League, through these guys, something that you've always been very much aware of?
Yeah, and not just that. I mean, being a striker, Mark Viduka, you know, someone who banged the goals in for Celtic. Scott McDonald, another striker as well, who, you know, Scotty's probably, you know, small like me, and he scored a lot of goals in Scotland. And I think it's a place that you know, Aussies can relate to in a way. And my father's Scottish, so for me, it was an easy decision to come here. And I think it's a good platform for players. You look at Tom Rogic now at Celtic. Yeah, it's a great league for players that want to kick on in Europe, but not just that. It's a fantastic league, and there's some big clubs, and Hibs is one of them.
You know Ryan McGowan quite well?
Yeah, I know Gowser really well.
Yeah. You know he's a Hearts fan again.
Yeah, I do. He'll probably send me a few tweets before the game, but no, look, Gowser, he said that to me before I even signed, and he said, look, because it was obviously well documented, it was in the media, and he said, look, go with whatever you feel's right, and at the time, and Hibs came through before Hearts did, so really Gowser's just been supportive of me, and you know, we're really good mates.